Hey guys, it's Love with Sky Pirates Productions. And on this week's Under the Influencer episode, we have Captain Chris. Captain Chris has an Instagram account that is growing so rapidly. And his account went viral from one particular post. His account rises 13,000 followers per month. And only having his Instagram account for 1 year, he's already reached 61,000 followers. Stay tuned to listen to how engagement and authenticity has been a part of his growth, as well as treating this Instagram account like a business. All right. Hi, Captain Chris.
How you doing, love? How are you?
I'm great. Hey, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
About me? Okay. Well, I'm an airline captain with a major international airline. I can quite happily say it's Virgin Atlantic Airways because most people on the internet know me now. And I've been flying, actually, I'm in my 40th year of aviation. I started flying when I was 18 years of age. I turned 58 at the end of this year. I know I look too young to be 58, don't I? But I'm only 57. And I started off in Australia as an Australian Aussie bush pilot, flying all around Australia, doing all sorts of flying, charter flying, instrument flying, doing bank runs for banks, and in the old days when ATMs didn't even exist. So I've flown all over Australia, and then I worked for a major airline in Australia, Ansett Airlines. They had an industrial dispute at the end of '89. I left Australia, ended up in a country called England, where I'm still now, with my girlfriend, now wife, and got a job with Air Europe, flew with Air Europe. They went bust 6 months later. After that, I did some contract flying for KLM in Holland, Swiss Air in Switzerland, based in Zurich. I then flew 2.5 years with Eurocipria, part of Cyprus Airways, before another contract flight or another contract with Air Lanka, or Sri Lankan Airways as it's now known, in Sri Lanka, and then back to the UK when I joined Virgin Atlantic 27 years ago this month. So that's the short version. The long version will be in a book one day, but that's the short version.
That's quite the experience, the flying experience. Which leads me to ask you, because this I know, but I want my audience, our audience, to know, you've been flying how many hours?
Well, actually, it's quite a lot for my age. 57 years of age. I had 24,000 hours at the start of 2020, so I reckon it's around 20,500. I really need to update my logbook, but 24,500 flying hours.
And that's equivalent to how many days?
That's over 1,000 days in the air. It's an easy maths one, that one, 1,000 days flying.
Yeah, I heard that about you and I was like, whoa, that's a lot. But having flown, having had that extensive experience and having flown all around the world, different airlines, as well as starting at 18, I don't think I can expect anything less. And you've continued that path in aviation consecutively,
absolutely.
Right?
I haven't stopped. I mean, I think the longest I've been out of a cockpit of an airplane was last year during COVID-19. It was 80 days. Before that, I think I was never out of an airplane for more than a month, ever in my career. And also, I got some more statistics just specially for you. I also calculated that my 24,000 hours equates to 539 times around the Earth, or 28 times to the moon and back.
Wow, amazing. So I love those numbers. That's amazing. Wow. That definitely should be a tally, the moon.
Tally, and I'll keep it going.
Just keep on telling. Just keep on telling. That's awesome. And so, speaking of COVID, this is kind of how it all started, right? The whole pandemic, and you being on the internet and on Instagram and all of that, because I think I'd be safe to say that in our generation, an older generation, it's not really likely that we'd be the type to pull out our camera immediately, right?
Yeah, don't put me in your generation. I'm a lot older than you. Yeah.
But I don't know about that. But so I just look young. It's a lot of flights. A lot of flights time keeps you young.
I had an early paper round.
Right, exactly. Oh yeah, so you did that was one of your first jobs, right?
Yeah, paperboy at 12 years of age. And even then, I mean, that predates the internet. Who gets a newspaper delivered these days?
I think some people do. Hotels do.
Do they still? Yeah. Okay.
Hotels. lounges,
Yeah,
I still love reading newspaper. I still write, a lot of people get mad at me because I still write my notes on paper as opposed
yeah.
to doing it in Google Sheets. And then I transfer it. It's not really efficient, but yeah. And then, so it started off quite exciting. You had one post that just went berserk around the world. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that was last, I think it must have been about April, May time. I'd been home for a month, the first month of COVID-19. And like probably yourself and many others out there, I thought, well, this will last for a couple of months and we will be back to work. So the first month of COVID-19, I spent at home with my son, and it was actually quite good fun. We just loved having so much time together. But then after about a month, it all hit home that this is actually serious and this could actually affect all of our jobs and all of our lives. And so during the second month, I started posting more about the positivity of just trying to stay positive. You might have lost your job, you might have lost your career, but there's some good things you can there's some good things that you can find out of it. In fact, look for your silver lining. I was saying, and while I was sitting at home, I noticed, like you probably noticed over there in the States, that people were panic buying toilet paper. I had no idea what that was all about. I think it's because it just takes up so much space in the shelves and things like that. But toilet paper seemed to be the thing that all the news was going on about. Like, look at these shops, they're empty, no toilet paper. People were fighting over toilet paper throughout the world. So the toilet paper thing, and also the fact that we're out of work now as airline crews, my son helped me with an idea of, there's a guy that you got in the States called Dude with a Sign, and he
Mm-hmm.
holds up a sign every day.
Yeah.
So my son said, why don't you do a sign, like hold up a sign, dressed as an airline captain, with a message. And I went, what sort of message? And we actually brainstormed it. We were sitting at home, we brainstormed it, and we said, look, why don't we buy airline tickets like you bought toilet paper? And it was just such an easy concept. So we made up the sign, buy airline tickets like you bought toilet paper. And there's a photo of me. I was actually standing in my garden on his skateboard ramp because I'm angled forward so that you get a nice blue sky behind me rather than the background. So I only had the top half of my uniform on, by the way, but I had the sign, right, angling forward with my sunglasses on, and he took a few shots with the toilet paper and he threw the toilet paper up there to be in the shot. And well, I posted that on the internet just as, again, a bit of fun, but a very, very serious message, telling people,
Sure.
just encouraging people, look, no matter what you're seeing on the media, no matter what you think might happen, we still need to go out there and buy airline tickets because we need the world to move. And all of us in the airline industry want to keep working. We want to fly where you want to go. We want to fly what you've got that needs to be sent onto the other side of the world. We need to do that for you. And the only way we can do that is if you guys buy airline tickets. So I posted that one up just with all my other ones, but it became really popular. And before I knew it was on Fox News over on your side of the Atlantic, Fox, CNN, they contacted me. Australian News was contacting me. It was on the BBC and the Mirror. There was quite a few articles written about it, and it just snowballed from then. And it's become a meme of 2020 and COVID-19 for our industry. And I'm
Sure.
quite proud of it because not so proud of the toilet paper bit, but yeah, quite proud of the message that it's sending. Like I said, it's a fun message, but it's a very serious message. And we
Sure.
still today need people to go out there and start buying tickets, because if they're buying tickets, they're buying a stake in the future of the airlines, and they're buying themselves a promise of going somewhere. And that's what we're still trying to achieve for them. I mean, there's rules and regulations all around the world at the moment, but the promise is that we're going to take you flying, and it might be a bit later than we all expected, but we're going to still take you flying. So go out there and buy airline tickets like you bought toilet paper.
Absolutely. What a great opening, to your Instagram career, if we can even say that, right? You being
Instagram
a
career.
you being a public figure, you being a true influencer, somebody who influences, the future of the airline industry, because I love what you said, how one ticket can do so much. It can. In the United States, I think it supports, I think 300,000 people in
Hmm.
the aviation industry. And that's not even counting, that's just, I think, employees with the major
Yes,
airlines. That's not counting the travel agents, the caterers,
the caterers, the
the
cleaning staff, everybody
cleaners,
else. Yep, yep.
everybody, and it really does, it does affect that. And so I appreciate that message when I saw it. And I said, you hit it like dead on. I mean, that was awesome that you did that. And then, so your son was pretty much involved in that. Can you tell me a little bit, or tell the audience a little bit about your son and your daughter and how
Yeah,
they're
that's
involved in all this?
well. My daughter started me on the Instagram story. It was just over a year ago. She was doing what most teenage girls do: is she's like having a conversation with my wife. She's walking around the house. She's doing something there, and she's got her phone in her hand. She's tapping away at it. And she's tapping, and this was on. Remember, this is on FaceTime. So I FaceTime my family twice, sometimes 3 times a day, because they were locked down in Melbourne, Australia, and I was locked down in France with my son. So they're on the other side of the planet. So we would FaceTime whenever we were on similar time zones that we could do this. And I remember looking at my daughter, and she's just tapping away at her phone in the background while I was talking to my wife. And I said, "What are you doing, Olivia?" And she said, "What?" I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm on the gram." And I went, "What?" She said, "It's the gram." And I went, "The gram? What's the gram?" She went, "The gram, Dad, Instagram." And I went, "Oh, okay, show me." And she showed me her phone, and she had pictures of, you know, girls in dresses and handbags and makeup. And I went, "Well, I'm not interested in that." She goes, "No, it's not just that. Instagram's for everything." I went, "What do you mean everything?" So she typed in Airbus. I went, "There, look, there's an Airbus A350." And I went, "Oh, that's cool. Oh, look, there's a Virgin Airbus A350. And she basically went, you know, you can have an Instagram account with what you're interested in. So I set up an Instagram account. And like I said, I just started posting pictures of the airplane and inside the cockpit. And most of my followers were plane spotters or people learning to fly airplanes, because they were really, really keen on that, and they were looking for that. And then after the buy airline tickets like you bought toilet paper, it became more airline employees, and also, more importantly, our customers. And it was our customers and people who fly with us regularly who were seeing these posts. And all of a sudden, my Instagram following has grown exponentially, because of people wanting to know what's going on in the industry, wants to know when they can fly. I get a lot of questions from people that obviously I can't answer. You know, when can I start flying to the States? I'm like you. I'd love to tell you that we can go tomorrow, but you know, so I get lots of messages like that. My biggest problem is I try to reply to all of them. That's a big ask, but I do try to reply to as many as I can. And I get a lot of questions basically from customers, and they're the nicest ones. The best part of it that I didn't expect was the fear of flying people. There's a lot of people out there who don't like flying, and for them to be able to DM a captain, please don't increase the amount I get. I get enough anyway, but I get a lot of DMs from people who are scared of flying, and I just say, "Hi, how you going? I'm glad you like my videos. Watch this one, watch that one," and it just calms them down, because it's like anything. If you're sitting in the back of a taxi and you're not driving, you get a bit anxious and nervous because you think, what's going on up there? When you drive your own car, you don't get nervous. And I think flying's just like that. You're sitting back in an unfamiliar situation in the back of an airliner that you don't do regularly like you and I do, and you feel anxious. You think, who's up the front? Who's driving the airplane? What's it look like from their point of view or their aspect? So showing these videos that I do and trying to break down aviation into small chunks is really good for people who have a fear of flying. And like I said, I try to explain as much of it as possible.
That's amazing. So, I mean, so it's obvious that you have the passion to share, whether it's pictures and to help, whether it's pictures or just the idea of comforting somebody, or allowing somebody to get inside your world. It seems like the whole premise of that is to share and to comfort people, and to say that it's going to be okay, including some of the pilots that have been furloughed, I heard, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So you'll remember the days when the flight deck door used to be open all the time, and people would regularly come in. And I was that captain who would always invite the kids in during the flight. Yeah, as many, and I'd say on the PA, look, any of you kids there want to come up during the flight, please just ask one of the cabin crew. And when it's a good time to come up, we'll get you up. And I used to have people up there, a continuous stream of passengers, all the way up to 2001, and then it stopped. Right, when 9/11 happened, it all stopped. I mean, we regularly had all the celebrities in there, regularly popping into the flight deck, and it was great fun. It was a completely different job. But since September 11th, not having people in the flight deck has harmed that, I think, in a little way, because people don't have that access, and they haven't had that access for 19 years now. So I think seeing inside the cockpit and breaking down to the basics of what we do up there makes a lot of the nervous people less nervous, and helps them with their anxiety. Also, the question you asked then was, how am I helping my colleagues? Obviously, when the COVID-19 struck and we were all out of work, like many companies, the companies instantly got rid of their 4-engine aircraft. And so if you're a 4-engine pilot, or even anybody associated with a 4-engine jet, you were grounded. All of us were grounded. And then they've started to rebuild, and our airline is rebuilt by using our 787 fleet and our Airbus A350 fleet, of which I fly. And so we've been rebuilding the airline just with those 2 aircraft at the moment. So obviously I'm very conscious of a lot of my colleagues that are grounded at the moment from the 747 and the A340 and the A330 fleets in our airline that haven't been trained on the 350 yet. And so I've used my Instagram account to try and support them as much as I can by saying, look, guys, me being out there and posting every day is showing that I'm actually flying, which means that the airline's still running, which means that your job will be secure in the future. And as long as I keep posting and as long as I keep promoting aviation, we've got a future together. So please, I understand where you are, and I empathize with you 100%. I've been unemployed 6 times myself during my career, and I know what it's like, and you will get through it, and there will be happier days, and we'll all be better off for it. So just stay calm. As they say in Britain, keep calm and carry on. We'll all get there together.
Amazing, amazing. I appreciate that, because I've been furloughed once after September 11th, and then now, you know, and unemployed twice. And so, yeah, I really do appreciate that. And that's all you can do, is just to keep calm. But it's amazing now to have that support system online through accounts like yours. Mine is a travel account too. You know, I consistently travel to show people, hey guys, you know what, it is safe to travel. Just take necessary precautions, but it is essential that you continue to travel. And look what you're missing out on, you know, and that's what I share with people. I get it. Different people have different situations, and my account is like yours. It's just to motivate people that, you know what, this day will end. You know, these times will end, and we'll get back to normal. Until then, just keep calm, because who knows when the next time. I mean, it took me 20 years to get unemployed again, and to just relax and not have any flights, you know. And you just have to learn to appreciate the time that you have. Because I remember going back in thinking, oh, I would have done this. Oh, I would have learned, you know, language. Oh, I had all this time just sitting there. I could have, you know, tackled a new hobby, you know. So, but that's absolutely right. It is just a keep calm and carry on type of, I guess, attitude that we should have. And you know, with that said, you know, you talked about your customers. Let's dive in some fun stuff. Are you monetizing on social media?
I think I'm quite unique in Instagram or social media. I do not monetize whatsoever, and I have no interest in monetizing my Instagram account, because I think it takes away the authenticity or the integrity of what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm promoting my airline, I'm encouraging people to buy tickets, and I'm supporting my colleagues. They're my 3 main points of running Instagram accounts. So as long as I keep doing those, I keep that integrity, I keep the growth going, and the more it grows, the better it is for those 3 aims that I have on my Instagram account. So yeah, I got a good job. As long as I promote my airline, promote aviation, I keep my job, I keep paying my mortgage, and that's what's important to me.
Absolutely. And so that's question 1. So question 2 is, who are some of the most fun people, or how should I say it? I know we get random people that email us and text us, and we try to engage. And, you know, like, who are some of the craziest, like, are there public figures that reach out to you? Are there, obviously there are newspapers and publications that reach out to you. Are there maybe CEOs that have reached out to you? Are there videographers and video companies that have reached out to you?
It's really, really nice. As I said, I work for Virgin Atlantic Airways, and I get very excited every now and then when I see a comment from Richard Branson. So Richard Branson will write a message to me directly, and I think that's quite cool. Or one of the CEOs from the airline that I work for, and the people, obviously the PR and the social media teams, I don't expect it from them, but I get messages from them, and that's really nice. But everybody else sees, you know, Sir Richard Branson write a comment, or Shai Weiss, who is the CEO of Virgin Atlantic, and that's really nice to get a message from them. I get messages from people all over, some celebrities in the UK that have flown with me or been on aircraft or flights with me before. There's one particular guy, James Asquith. He's big on Instagram. He travels a lot. I think he took 104 flights in 2020. So he's promoting aviation and promoting flying, and he does it for business. He doesn't do it for fun. He does it for business. But he's quite big on Instagram, and he follows me and supports me. So yeah, there's been lots, and I'm trying to think of them off as I'm speaking. But yeah, I get lots and lots of DMs, and as I say, I try to reply to all of them. So please don't send me more. I've got enough. But I will, if you've got a genuine request or a reason for a DM, I'll always try and get back to you. It may not be today or tomorrow, but I will get back to you.
Sure, sounds great. Where do you see yourself headed with this Instagram path and this journey?
bad to start an answer with because it's exactly like that. I didn't expect to be speaking to you today with 60,000 followers, and by the time you watch this, it'll be 70,000 and so on. It's growing very rapidly, and it's because like I said, my daughter helped me set it up, and it was mainly for me to look at airplane pictures and post airplane pictures for plane spotters and enthusiasts of aviation, and also colleagues of mine who were coming onto the aircraft. It's now developed, like I say, into an international a way of seeing what it's like to be a pilot flying during a pandemic. It's also a way of other people in the industry like yourself to be in contact with each other, to say, hey, I know what it's like, I know what it feels like. It's exactly the same on my side of the pond as it is on yours. We're all in this together. We can support each other. We're stronger together, and all those great things. So where do I go from there? I'm not thinking about it too much, but I just want to grow the account so that I can send that message to a greater amount of people, and then maybe more of our customers to help them with fear of flying, maybe.
That's amazing. Let's talk about your content. How do you select your content? Are they with many people who are true influencers and influencers who don't monetize? Let's talk about your content, Captain Chris. You have such great content, and I think a lot of it is because, for my eyes, it's truly genuine, and it looks like it's on the spot. The visuals are great, and they really are engaging. I mean, to the eye, let alone your wonderful captions and your engagement with your content, or your followers who have commented. So asking you about content, where do you, like most people who are on Instagram, they plan it out. Do you plan your content out?
Not much planning, no. I think I've developed an eye for what looks good, and I think it's, again, going back from what my daughter did. She showed me what looks good, and she shows me accounts. She said, "Oh, look at this one, look at that one." I mean, I'm really lucky. I'm a 57-year-old airline captain, so I'm not the sort of demographic for Instagram. So I think that makes me unique as well, because I'm not the sort of person that people would normally follow on Instagram. But I do have a secret weapon, and that's an 18-year-old daughter who knows what looks good on Instagram. And she said, "Hey, Dad, look at this one. This guy's doing this. Hey, look at that. You could do that, and you could do that better." And then I'm not talking about aviation-related Instagram accounts. It could be anything. And she says, "Oh, I like the way this is done, and I like the way that's done." I go, "Oh," she said, "imagine if you did that on board the airplane. Imagine if you did that here, and imagine if you did that." My other secret weapon that I haven't mentioned yet is my son. My son's 20 years old, and he's studying to be a film director. And he's actually at Ealing Studios doing a course in film. So he's my other secret weapon. So he will give me he did the original buy airline tickets like you bought toilet paper meme. And I remember being directed by him. Okay, lean forward a bit, hold the sign more this way, do this way, that way. Okay, we need some more blue sky. And he's doing all that thing. So that's my other secret weapon. And also when I come up with an idea from my daughter, he'll say, "No, that'll be rubbish. What you need to do is you need to do this. And if you reverse the film here, and if you do that way," and it's quite funny, actually. He used to help me a lot. He helps me very little now, because he's not embarrassed. He's like, "Yeah, you get on with it. You know what you're doing."
Right.
And so I only go to him now and say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" He'll go, "Yeah, it's fine." Right. But he still gives me all my music. So again, I can't take credit for the music. I'll say, "Hey, what music goes with this?" And he'll just look at it, and in a second he'll say, "Yeah, this track." And I went, "Okay."
That's
I did
amazing.
one last night. I did one last night. I put Kanye West "Good Morning" on a video of the sun coming up, and yeah, that was him. That was all him. So sorry, but it's a family affair.
So note to our followers and our audience, you definitely need to have an 18-year-old on your team and a 20-year-old on your team.
Yeah.
Somehow. It doesn't have to be family, but you need to have them on your team. And that's true,
young
right?
People.
Young people, because this is their world. This is where they live. Like you said, like, "What are you doing over there, daughter?" Tapping away, like, "What?" She's on the ground. What are you doing?
Yeah, like that. So I'm on the gram, Dad. She's like,
like, "What are you doing?" Yeah. So, what do you, looking at your content, and I can't express enough how much I love the visuals. You obviously get tips from your son and ideas from your son and your daughter.
Yes.
What is your favorite content? If going back, you know what, I'll say, what are your top 3? Going back to, you've had already 358 within, I guess you've had your account a little bit over a year.
Yeah.
Just thinking about the impact, thinking about what it took to create that, or being in the moment, what were your top 3 pieces of content?
Oh, we should ask me this beforehand. I'm trying to think. Obviously, number one has to be the buy airline tickets like you bought
Sure.
toilet paper. The famous picture holding the sign above my head, because that's gone global. It's made me who I am. It's introduced people to me to be able to create more content for Instagram. So that's obviously my number one picture. As far as the messages, I've written so many that the post is important to me. The message that I've sent is really important to me. But unfortunately, not all of those posts are read. You know, the Instagram generation is just looking at a picture and saying, "Oh, that's great," double tap, right? Next, that's great, double tap. So I don't know. I would say that only 10% of my posts are read. So I would like to say one of my posts where I send a positive message to my colleagues and people like yourself is probably one of my favorite, but nobody will know them because again, they're the double tap, double tap. I did have one that I particularly liked because it was in my early days where I got a 360 camera on the end of a long selfie stick, and I just walked through the cabin of the Airbus A350 that was empty when it was on the ground, and I ended up in the cockpit. It was just before I got on board, or before we boarded the aircraft. I was empty, and I thought, oh, I'll just walk through with the camera. And then I walked through, hovering over the seats, basically to show people what the interior looked like. Because it's a brand new airplane. It's beautiful inside, especially our first class or upper class section up the front. So I took the camera through the cabin and made it look like I had a drone flying through the cabin. But because, again, it took a minute to film that, I thought, well, a minute, that's no good for Instagram. Nobody's going to watch a 1-minute clip. So I shortened it down to 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put a St. John track with it, this like bouncy track, which my son suggested to it. And that went crazy. I think it's up 600,000-700,000 views. And that was like, people loved it. You know, it looked like a drone flying really quickly through the cabin of the airplane and all the way up to the cockpit. I was really proud of that one because it got me on this whole reel thing. I thought, reels, people really like them, you know, just a quick, snappy little visual with a cool track. And nobody probably read what I wrote about it, but it's just that was really popular. And that got me thinking, wow, okay, I need to do more of these. And I did one recently. It was just I had the camera set up in the cockpit because people might think I'm filming the cockpit, but I normally have somebody there with me, or it's on a tripod and it's set up safely away from me. And I had some video flying into London, and it was a cloudy day, but the track that goes with it was just so cool, and it had 1.1 million hits, and it's just going crazy. Yeah, it's just a video of me flying into Heathrow Airport, which is what I do as a job. It's my day job. But that. And again, trying to work out which are the most popular. You can see which is the most popular by the views, but you try to then work out why. And that's where I still am now. You know, why? Obviously, I need to speak with my daughter and my son and look at the analytics, but they're not that bothered. You know, oh, I want to look at dad's analytics. Who cares?
He has 1 million views. Who cares at this point?
Right? Who cares? Yeah. What was so funny on that is my daughter had. Was so funny is my daughter had 250 followers, and when I first started, she said, "Oh, see if you can get 250 followers." When I got to 1,000, she was really like upset. She went,
right.
1,000. Yeah.
Oh, 10,000. Oh, I think when I first saw your account, it was maybe at 55. I mean, it's growing rapidly. I mean, this is for those out there. I think people, you know, you should be dubbed as the fastest growing pilot account out there. I mean, you have almost 61,000 followers in about what, a year and what did you say, 14 months or so?
Yeah, just over a year. And I just looked at it today, and it's growing at 13,000 a month.
13,000 a month, amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And what do you think that attributes the growth attributes to? Like, is it just the authenticity,
you just nailed it on the head then. I think, and it's really hard to talk about yourself like this because it's just not very humble, but I think it is because it is quite authentic. You know, I'm a 57-year-old international airline captain. I'm not good looking. I try to keep fit. I'm no celebrity, but I'm doing a job that a lot of young people would love to do. So I encourage those people to get into aviation. I think there's never been a better time right now because there will be a shortage of pilots in the future. There isn't right now. There's a glut, but there will be a shortage of pilots. So get stuck in. So I inspire young people to take up aviation. I've encouraged people to fly, and I show them lots of pretty videos out the cockpit window, out the side windows, and people like that authenticity. And like I said, I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm selling aviation. I'm selling the dream of going flying again, going on your next holiday, going on your next business trip to New York, wherever it may be. And that's what I'm selling. And by selling that, I am building up an account where I can support my colleagues like yourself so that we all get back into aviation and get back to where we belong. And that's it.
So the beautiful thing about that is you're selling because you know how great this aviation industry. Now I've been in the industry for 20 years.
Yep.
I have some pretty great stories, pretty amazing stories.
Yes.
And that is what comforts you in promoting this aviation industry.
Absolutely.
And aviation jobs, to know that they will have a similar experience, if not a better experience.
Cool. It's very cool.
In their era, you know. What are some of the, I know I'm going to go broad now, but if you can say, what is your most memorable trip, whether it be when you first started flying for Virgin or some catastrophe, you know, we'll never forget September 11th and what we were doing.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, in our uniforms that day. I don't know if you were flying. I was, you know, and so.
I wasn't flying that day.
You weren't. Okay. So like, what is it? Was there one particular flight or series of flights that just literally stood out?
Yeah, so again, it's a really easy one because I get asked this question a lot. So my most memorable flight, and there's so many. I mean, how do you put it down to one? But because I've been asked many times, I now have my not standard answer, but I know what my favorite is. So my most memorable trip would have been flying into Hong Kong's famous Kai Tak Airport with the curved approach on a wet, windy afternoon where it's all manually flown. But I had my dad and one of my brothers in the cockpit with me, and I was a 30-year-old long-haul 4-engine airline captain, and that was pretty cool.
Oh, I've got the chills.
Yeah.
What an invigorating feeling.
Yeah.
You know?
But to have my dad there, and my dad started me off. He was the one that pushed me in the cockpit when I was a 12-year-old boy and said, "My son Christopher wants to see the cockpit." I didn't know what a cockpit was, but he got me started.
I know how that feels. My daughter, she gets access so my daughter's flown on, I think we're counting on over 801 flights now.
Yes.
And she's only 8 years old, so we fly a lot, you know.
Yes.
And the pilots always, you know, a lot of them recognize me and they say, "Oh, you know, bring your daughter in." And they asked her, "Hey, do you want to come in the cockpit?" And most kids are like, "Yeah, sure." And she just sits there with the pilot
the hat on,
and she just
and
smiles.
you're a typical parent. You're the typical parent. You have to get that shot, don't you?
No, but the thing is, she's taken maybe 30 of those growing up.
Oh yeah.
So it's not
so funny. I took my daughter, I remember when she was 13, to San Francisco, and we were walking around the streets of San Francisco, and I said, "Oh, are you hungry, sweetheart?" She said, "Oh yeah, I'm really hungry." I said, "What would you like?" And she goes, this is a 13-year-old girl. "Daddy, I know a really nice pizza shop just on Columbus." I went, "What? You're 13? I said, "Columbus Avenue." She knew the name of the street. I said, "When did you go there?" She said, "I went with Mummy on the last trip."
Amazing. A
13-year-old girl knows a pizza shop on Columbus Avenue in San Francisco.
On Columbus Avenue.
Cool. She knew it was.
That is
my favorite
cool.
My favorite picture on my Instagram account has to be that one.
Oh, how young was she there?
Do you know what? She's probably like 2. Yeah.
2.
In the cockpit with Daddy. On the ground.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she was born post September 11th. So
yeah, that's amazing. Right. I get it. It's pretty amazing. Oh, okay. So, I always like to ask that because we always ask each other, and you know, you start off with one, and then you say, "Oh, well, I remember this event, and I remember this. Oh, well, this was really bad, and oh, I remember when I did this." And then you sit back and think, I've had such a great career. Through all the ups and downs, I mean, we see in the aviation industry, you will see high ebbs and flows. You know, we will see
definitely
extreme ebbs and flows, you know. But you know what? We still walk away and say, it's worth it. Get involved.
Oh, it's definitely worth it.
You know, I tell people all the time, like, listen, you don't have to become a pilot. You don't have to become a flight attendant. Do you know that if you're an engineer, you could still work in the airline industry? If you're a marketer,
it's a great industry to be in. Yeah.
If you are in IT, if you are a router, whatever your talents are, you have it in the aviation industry. And we need all those, what did they say? It takes 200 people for a flight to take off because there's so many people
Yeah,
behind the scenes, you know, and
absolutely.
all those people behind the scenes, they're affected in this pandemic, you know. So I wouldn't be surprised if many of them are following you because you are their future. You know, you are
Oh, yeah.
influencing aviation in a nutshell, you know,
It's so
and
nice. I walk through Heathrow Airport now, and even guys in security, the guys behind the scanner machine, the X-ray machine, they go, "Hey, hi, Captain Chris, how you doing?" I went to the coffee shop in the terminal, and the guy said, "Hey, Captain Chris, have a nice flight." It's so nice. It's
it,
lovely. And those
it
people,
is nice.
they're all glad to be back flying. Like I said, they work in a coffee shop, they work at the X-ray machine, at the security, but they all rely on aviation, like you and I.
The world relies on it. How do we get
Yeah.
to funerals? How do we see our family? How do we get to family, you know, to see family members in hospitals? How do we, you know, how do we just get away? You know, a lot of that we've put on the back burner because of the pandemic, but it is essential. Flying is
Yes.
essential, you know,
And now
no
with the
matter how you
vaccine,
look. Hmm. And
this is the biggest product delivery in the world, they're saying. We're going to deliver vaccines all around the world, and Virgin Atlantic is going to be one of the airlines doing that. We've got a contract to, I mean, three of the major vaccines are from the UK, so we will be distributing that around the world very, very soon indeed. In fact, a lot of the
yeah,
flights that I'll be doing over the next few months will be transporting vaccines. So it's a really, really important job to be doing, and I'm just so glad to be part of that.
you know what?
I'm so fortunate.
No, no, no. It's so true because like even so, you know what goes on in your airline. Me coming from United, we get all the notification. It was a big deal to have
Hmm.
those 777s come in with I don't know the number, but millions of vaccine
Yes.
dosages, millions. How many people
Hmm.
will this help? So the airline industry, it's not just all fun and games, it's essential, you know. And
Yes.
behind that essential are the 200 people minus the flight attendants probably, but
Yes.
the 200 people that belong to lifting that machine up into the air, you know. So I mean, I love the airline industry. I've been a part of it for the past 20 years, and just being able to show a different side, you know, how a flight attendant travels and uses, you know, the social media to you
Yes.
get people inside of your world. You know, I show everything from when I check in to doing my checks, you know,
Yes.
and maybe I shouldn't show that, but you know what? They love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to turn off your phone after a certain time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. I
what?
know.
But they love it. You know, they really do love it. It actually I've gotten such great responses. Um, you know, like you did the swipe, you know, through the cabin. I do that to
Yep.
show people, hey guys, I'm checking this. Feel comfortable that we don't just have an oxygen mask and oxygen bottles on the plane. We check it every flight,
Every
every
single
flight
time. Every single time.
every single time, you know, to ensure that you are safe and you are pretty much medically safe on board. And we're there to support you no matter what, you know. And so,
100%.
as I said about the equipment, as the, you know, having your phone on, what is your airline policy with? It seems pretty lax because I have a lot of friends in.
It's not lax, but yeah,
It's-
definitely a lot lax.
I mean, more lax than others, should I say? Some airlines you
In,
can't even
in,
say the name, but
yeah, no, no. I'd say lax is the wrong word. I'd say it's a company that gives the responsibility to their employees to make sensible decisions. And I really
amazing.
do think that's important. They put the employees first, and if they put the employees first, we'll look after the clients or our customers. So I think the airline is saying, right, make sensible decisions, be you know, don't do anything silly, and we'll support you 100%. And I think that's a big difference between that and the word lax. Um, Obviously, I'm a senior airline training captain with my company, so anything I film in the cockpit, I will film with the proper equipment, with the proper
Sure,
approvals, and at the same time, nothing is being filmed that is distracting from my job. Okay, and
absolutely.
most of the stuff I'm doing as a training captain, I'm sitting on the jump seat anyway, so a lot of
Right.
the stuff is filmed in that way. So yeah, no, definitely not the word lax. Don't use
Yeah,
that
it's
one.
just
We're not like.
in America, because of liability, we're a litigious
Yeah. Yes.
country.
Yeah.
And so we all airlines have to be careful with, what we post. Some airlines can't say, some employees can't say the name of the
Yes.
airlines, which I think
It's a
is
shame
not
in a way
good,
because
because
you need to promote the airline. I love
you need to
promoting my airline.
promote the airline. Yeah. And for me, I'm proud to promote United because we're doing a lot of great things, and
Yes.
let me be the voice inside that carries our message outside.
Yes.
I'm proud to do that, as you are with Virgin, and so I always like to ask that because it shows how happy you guys are when you have rules, or I said guidelines, company guidelines that say, hey, listen, you're welcome to promote. We're going to put, the responsibility in your hands. Unfortunately, it's not like that everywhere. So yeah, so pardon me when I use the word lax, but it is,
Yeah.
you guys have a lot more leeway than I see at other airlines. Other
I
airlines,
think
they can't even post in their uniform,
that's
which I
right.
think
I
is
think a lot of
mistaken.
other airlines don't realize the value of employee advocacy. There's a good one for you.
Absolutely.
Employee advocacy. Google that one. I wrote a post on that last month about how important it is to use your employees right now to advertise on social media, because
Sure.
people don't trust corporations, especially now. They don't trust the big corporations, but people trust people, right? What's happened during COVID-19 is we've become all a little bit more human. We sort of rely on each other a little bit more, and we all know that we're all going through this. It isn't just like things that have happened to aviation in the past, like September 11th, or like other things that have happened to aviation have just hit aviation, but this has hit everybody at the moment, and so it's made us all more human. People don't trust corporations, but they trust people. So when your people of your corporation post something on social media, they get a lot more trust than the actual company itself. In fact, it's really interesting that my company only today posted a plea to all employees to go out on social media and start telling people, look, we're out there, we're flying, we're going every day, we're taking our COVID tests. You're safer on board an aircraft than you are at your local supermarket. And I truly
Sure.
believe that. I'm in a hotel in London right now, and I don't want to go outside because London's, it's a bad situation with COVID-19 at the moment, but I'm looking forward to the next time I'm board an airplane because I know at least I'm safe there. I know that every single person that's on that airplane's had a COVID test. I know everybody there is safe. I know the air conditioning system is safer than in this hotel room that I'm sitting in right now. And I feel safe for those hours that I'm on board that airplane. And I just want to promote or tell people that's how it is in aviation. Aviation hasn't got less safe, it's got more safe. Go flying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're so right in so many ways. Whether it's the placards or the policies in place
Yes.
or the way we check in. I mean, it is, I don't know how much safer we can get.
Oh,
I mean, they've literally nipped it in the bud, like every
absolutely.
possible thing that can happen, they've already fixed it, and
They've
so
thought about it and
I'm
they've
with
done
you.
From the
I'm there with
manufacturers
you.
to the airlines to the promotion of it.
Yeah. So my next question, which is going to be my last question, what, or is there something that you want to discuss?
No, nothing at all.
I hope to have we'll definitely have a part 2 where we can look at where you're at 100,000, which will probably be like in 2 months.
Yeah. I'll be too famous to talk to you then.
Too famous to talk to me. You can talk to my manager.
Yeah.
She's 18 years old.
Yeah. You speak to my daughter.
Yeah, that's my manager.
Never.
She's 18 years old. For those people out there who are afraid to let people inside their lives or their views or their industries, for those who are older who are afraid to get on social media, what advice would you give them out there to feel okay with social media?
Really good question. As you've already said, social media is for the young people. And so older people my age tend to think, that's not for me. I'm not interested in the gram. And how can the gram help me? Well, I'm a perfect example how the gram can help you. It doesn't matter what you do. You might be a carpenter, a woodworker. You might fix cars for a living. You might, whatever your interest or your hobby might be, by posting about it on social media, you'll find like-minded people that will also be interested in what you do. And you might be able to get sort of a network of people or a neighborhood online of people that can give you more advice and you can help them. And actually, I think it enhances your life. I've made a lot of new friends throughout the world initially through all the plane spotters that take beautiful photos of aircraft, to people that are in the aviation. It's so nice to taxi into JFK Airport the other night, and one of the operators in the tower contacted me and said, "Oh, welcome to New York, Captain Chris." And then he contacted me on another frequency, had a little bit of a chat, and then he DM'd me, and then there was a plane spotter on top of the car park, and he was waving to me, and he took some nice shots, and then he sent them to me through a DM, and it's just so lovely. And then when I get on the ground, all the ground staff at JFK know me, and it's just a really, really nice community. That's what it is. It's community. So back to your question, that if you're an older person, you think, oh, how can it help me? It'll give you more community, and later in life, that's what you want. You want more community. You want to know more people with similar interests to yourself. So don't be scared about it. But if you want to do it well, get a young person involved. My daughter's already taken.
That was my next question. Well, thanks, Captain Chris, for your time. We'll definitely talk to you when you hit 100,000 in a few, maybe a few weeks. And thank you.
You're very welcome, love. Thank you very much indeed for talking with me.